Yes, indeed, folks, the sounds of children of Bodom kissing the shadows and the sounds of whining in the channel. That music sucks! You are banned! No, I'll let you live, but seriously, you are really awful. My name is Tall Biscuit, and you're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio, the land of more taste than you. Now, we've got an interesting topic that I'd like to cover, as generally, this is kind of how Blue Please works. I have an interesting topic that I'd like to cover, and you are going to listen to it. If you don't like it, go away. It's pretty much the gist of the show. It's worked for 4 years, it's not going to stop me now. Right. Now, the Immortal / Undying achievements. Those achievements specifically involve, for those who are not aware, the defeating of all Naxxramas bosses in either 10 or 25 man without the death of a single player. Now, at first glance, that sounds, well, challenging but not insurmountable. Which, yes, in an ideal world, I would agree with. However, unfortunately, this is WoW, and WoW is not especially reliable in many respects, particularly since Wrath. A lot of servers have been suffering lag issues and disconnects in raid instances. Indeed, there are some servers where if a Winter Grasp starts, 10 players disconnect from the raid, simply because of the sheer amount of latency that Winter Grasp causes. And now, I have no idea why. I don't know why the WoW servers can't handle that kind of thing, but evidently they can't, because there have been frequent complaints. Now, I personally have experienced certain issues with that. I, for several months, actually had frequent disconnect issues that were caused by WoW. They seem to have been cleared up now, but every now and again, our raiders do disconnect for one reason or another. Now, the Immortal achievement, in particular, is tricky. Not for the fact that, hey, yeah, okay, it's a little bit tricky not to die on every possible boss encounter, but let's face it, most of the boss encounters are actually really easy, and it's pretty difficult to die anyway. Kel'Thuzad perhaps being the only one that could really logically kill anybody. And that would be with a bad combination of Frostbolts, Traps, Chain, and MC. Now, that would be fine, yeah? In an ideal world, in a perfect server, where everyone had zero latency and there was not even the merest possibility of disconnect. But I cannot count the amount of times we have failed that achievement on the basis that someone has DC'd or lagged out for whatever reason. And indeed, I've been responsible for that 1 week, and it wasn't my fault. My connection was fine. What could I do? I just got DC'd from the game. You have been disconnected from the server. Oh, you just got killed on Thaddeus. Well done. Just bear in mind that Thaddeus, originally when it was released, was a complete pain because of server latency. He's still a complete pain because of server latency, particularly getting the achievements on there. Now, personally, I don't care about achievements, but here's the issue. It doesn't matter if I don't care about achievements. It doesn't matter even in the slightest, because there are other people in the raid that probably do, and it relies on everybody in the raid to get the achievement. Not just one person, it's not an individual thing. Everyone has to get it or nobody gets it. Now, there is a thread that I would like you to have a look at. I'm having it posted in the IRC channel right now. If you want to check it out, you better get in the IRC channel, because I'm certainly not linking you to this. It's got like 50,000 numbers in it. Go to irc.mmoirc.com, #WoW Radio on your favorite IRC client, or check wcradio.com, click in the IRC chat button at the top of the screen. That's the way to get there. Now check out this thread. Now, the thread is entitled, Please Remove the Immortal from the Meta. Now, those of you who don't know, there is a similar Glory of the Raider meta achievement. Now, they're called meta achievements. I don't know why they're called meta achievements. That really doesn't make a massive amount of sense. There's nothing really meta about them. They're just achievements that consist of other smaller achievements. Now, the meta achievement is called Glory of the Raider and involves a whole bunch of different things, including all of those ridiculous go out of your way, stand on your head 7.5 Raider achievements, as well as the Immortal and the Undying. Both of those currently exist. Now, the reward for getting these is I believe, 310% speed Drake, the Black Proto Drake, and the Plagued Proto Drake. Now, there are similar ones, Rusted and Ironbound Proto Drakes, which are being introduced with a new Glory of the Raider achievement for Ulduar. However, the Immortal, while it is coming back, and the Undying, which is also coming back, are not part of this meta. Now, this person is basically arguing that they should also be removed from the current meta. And his rationale is basically this. Most of the achievements, in fact, I'd say all of the achievements in the meta achievement, Glory of the Raider, depend basically on your ability to raid in a particular fashion. most of them make the encounter a little bit harder. Some of them are just hilariously pointless, like, hey, do Saffron with under 100 frost res. And your success on that depends less on your ability to actually do it with under 100%, with under 100 frost res, as, oh, did your DK turn off his frost resistance aura this time? It's not a hard achievement by any stretch of the imagination. But Glory of the Raider is tricky. It's tricky for a couple of reasons, one of which, of course, would be Sarthari and 3 Drakes, but mainly the reason why it's tricky is the Undying and the Immortal. The problem with the Undying and the Immortal is, while on paper they look like they're skill-based, in reality, in the environment of the servers which are not reliable, and in the environment of people's connections which could in fact be unreliable, and let's face it, it is not somebody else's fault. No. It's not. You cannot say that at all. You can't just say, hey, it's the fault of the person whose connection is bad. No, it generally isn't. They bought the connection, they expect it to work, and that's a pretty reasonable thing to assume. Sadly, there are some service providers that just basically suck, and a lot of people don't have options, particularly in certain countries where ISPs are less diverse than in the United States. I mean, you can look at the US and like, oh, you can choose all these other ones if that one sucks. Well, a lot of countries aren't like that. Yeah? I want the best connection I can really have in this area. It's a 3 megabit from TalkTalk, and it's ADSL, and I can't really get better than that, and I'm actually having some issues with that connection. There's nothing I can do about it. It's either that or I don't have this connection. Like, either that or I don't have broadband. Broadband at the speed that I need and want. So no, it's not their fault at all. And the argument this guy was making is perfectly valid. Really. Really is. Perfectly valid. And I cannot imagine why this would be an issue. But of course, because this is the WoW forums, people are incredibly dumb. Incredibly stupid in manners which I can never possibly imagine. Yeah? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. There's some guy whose post got deleted. This is the first, reply. I believe this got deleted. I stopped reading here. You haven't worked for anything. If it does feel like working, get a life. Well, that doesn't mean anything, for one thing. I mean, this entire thread is basically Imbecile of the Week. What can I say? This entire thread. And it keeps going on and on and on. Yeah? If you don't do Immortal, you don't deserve an awesome-looking Drake. End of discussion. That is not, in any respect, the end of discussion. Let's face it. And this is posted, of course, by a level 3 posting alt called Bentiage from Balnazar, because people, of course, are a little bit too cowardly to put their dumbass, retarded opinions on an actual character that, could actually affect them in some way. It's like they're embarrassed of their own posts. And they should be. They absolutely should be. Right? The drivel, the vomit-worthy, delirium-inducing drivel that comes out of some people's keyboards these days boggles the mind. It's like my brain wants to escape out of my ears when I read some of this stuff. It's like, please, please stop torturing me. Please, I'm begging you. This should be illegal under the UN, the Human Rights Act. There should be laws against this kind of torture. Ugh. That is irrational. Yes, okay, in an ideal world, the Immortal would be a good achievement, but it is not an ideal world. This is not paper. This is how it actually functions. People DC all the time for reasons which are not necessarily their fault. The servers are balked. Let's face it. There are issues with the servers that have been since Wrath. Yes, they are working on fixing them. Yes, sometimes they're alright, and on some servers they're better than others. That's the great thing. Some other idiot said, oh, well, we can do it on our server. Yeah? It's like someone said, and no one did in ours. Like, the original poster said, that's why 10 people disconnected on 4 Horsemen on our tries the week before last. And then some other guy called Bullshot. And how many Tauren Blinking Hunters have you seen called Bullshot? Like it's funny. From a guild called Can You Eat Seal on Jadenar. Har, har, har. Very funny. Edgy and wacky. You could be on student radio with that kind of thing. And no one did in ours. Funny world, isn't it? No, it's not a funny world. Grats, you're on a server that isn't broken. There are others that are. I cannot imagine why. I'm seeing all of these posts. You see loads of posts like this. Oh, well, this doesn't happen on our server, therefore it doesn't exist. No! You are a very small part of a very large world. And yes, there are things which do not necessarily affect you. That does not mean they're not legitimate. You are one of 12 million. Actually, let's face it, no one really cares about you. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, there's another post here from Sanajar, level 24. Yet another posting all because people are too cowardly to post on their main. Please remove all of the meta because I need them out now and I am too a crappy player to get the achievement thousands of people already have. It doesn't matter if thousands of people already have it. It's pot luck as to whether or not you can actually get it. You can play perfectly and get screwed over because someone gets DC'd. That is not an achievement. That is luck. That is rolling the dice. It's like, I wonder if this week there will be a Warsong Gulch, or Warsong Gulch, it's the same thing. Winter Grasp, WG. Too many acronyms that are all the same. There'll be a Winter Grasp that lags out half my raid in the middle of Thaddeus. I wonder if everyone's connection will hold up for 4 hours. I wonder if there won't be a power cut. I wonder. And of course there's no system to protect you from that at all. Therefore, that achievement should not be part of the meta, because it doesn't prove skill, it proves how stable your server is. Now, that's an achievement that Blizzard should be shooting for, not me. Now, personally, I don't care about this. I don't care about this achievement. I don't care about achievements at all. I don't give a damn if I get Immortal or Undying or not. The thing is, there are people in my raid that do, and it causes consternation. It causes heaps of drama. It wrecks the guild dynamic. It causes a lot of damage. Most of the anger that I've seen... I've rejoined Lethe. You know, I used to be a member of Lethe ages ago, and I remember the anger and stuff that occurred in, say, Cthulhu wipes and stuff like that, where people did stupid stuff. That's justifiable anger. But the thing is, most of the anger that I find happening is coming from stuff like failing the Immortal or failing the Undying. It's like, yeah, the reason you failed the Immortal is generally not because someone screwed up. I mean, our raiders are good. They know what they're doing. I don't see people generally dying in Nax for no apparent reason. There's usually a reason for it, and most people avoid it. 99.9% of the time. But the main reason that I see people dying is not because of their own incompetence. It's because they've DC'd or they've lagged out. Or whatever reason. You cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, base an achievement that is so desirable. And it is desirable because you're asking people to shoot for a piece of loot. Yeah? If it was just a merit badge, it wouldn't be quite as bad. But it's a 310% mount and it's quite unique and it's got a nice title. Yeah? That's a pretty good reward. So yes, people are going to shoot for it. And indeed, raiders who are trying to train up for Old War are going to shoot for it because they say, well, if we can't beat Nax and Immortal, then what chance do we have in Old War, which is supposed to be more difficult? And I would agree with that rationale. You should be shooting for the Immortal all the time. You should be shooting for the Undying all the time. That should be default. The problem is that you can't. And it's not our fault. So yes, it absolutely should be removed from the meta. And people need to get off their damn high horses and quit their bloody posturing. It's like, it's okay to be elitist from time to time. It's okay to say, oh, well, you're not good enough. But it's like, I am not good enough not to get disconnected. What? Listen to yourselves when you talk. You are really not very smart, evidently. Because that just doesn't make any logical sense. And good lord. Same argument's like, you get disconnected from a multiplayer game. Oh, you weren't good enough to win. What? Same argument's like, oh, I am going to a sporting event. My car broke down. You weren't good enough to win. That's why you didn't win. No, I didn't win because I wasn't able to show up because my car broke down. No, you didn't win because you weren't good enough to not have a car that doesn't break down. My brain is breaking down right now. Under the ceaseless assault of utterly illogical drivel. How can people... I mean, just try and answer me this. These people exist, right? We realise that sadly these people exist. They defy all laws of evolution. I mean, someone that can breathe and operate and do day-to-day tasks couldn't possibly think this stupid. Really? Could they? It shocks me. It disgusts me from time to time, and good lord, that thread is a shooting gallery of stupid. Ugh. Can we round them up? Seriously? Can we do something with them? We don't have to necessarily, kill them all. We could use them for food. Firewood, maybe. Enslave them. For the good of society. You know what I'm talking about. Makes perfect sense to me. Get rid of all the scrubs. My name is Total Biscuit, and you listen to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. When I come back after the break, it'll be your turn. The illusion of choice! After a wee bit of Evergrey. Enjoy.